What's up guys, how's it going? Back with another session breakdown, and in this video, I'm going to show you how I produced, mixed, and mastered Escape From Me. I'm going to play some voice memos and some demos and show you how I took that and turned it into the final song, so stick around to the end to see how I did that. Also, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next session breakdown. So, the first voice memo idea I had for this song is this melody. And this ended up becoming the chorus melody. Once it was a mystery, turned into a sight to see. But before I even started writing the song, I used the melody in something else. I'll show you what that sounds like. You could hear it. And I'd made that beat and I was like, this is cool, whatever. But then I got another idea for the song that went like this. And it was such a mystery, never thought it couldn't be. Used to be a victory, now it's an escape for me. So that's a lot closer to the final chorus melody, and I'm even starting to get lyric ideas that sound really close to the final song. I came up with this bridge, which I thought was going to be the bridge for Escape From Me. Ended up not even using it, but I'll still play it for you. So that was the original bridge, but I ended up changing it to the "Guess It Saved Me" thing, which I'll talk about in a minute. But anyways, at this point I was like, okay, I'm definitely gonna make a new song out of this separate from that old beat. And then I got this verse idea. Little things but the right now, still is one against the world again. And the pre-chorus. Yet it's all you know. Oh, you're bursting for a new address. Not that pretty like the paper please tell you want until there's nothing left. Once it was a mystery. So I'd really written it out now. So at that point, I had like part of the verse written, the pre-chorus, and the chorus. I have an older voice memo that I actually found, and I ended up putting it into Escape From Me. And I recorded this in January in 2023, so 2 years ago. So the chords are a little different, but it was the original like melody idea of and I called it Broadway-ish idea because I was going to see Broadway musical. I was going to see Wicked. But I was walking down New York and I came up with that melody then. And I recorded like a voice memo of me like humming it, but I don't think I have it. Anyways, that I ended up putting into Escape From Me as the bridge. I think that's all the demo ideas and voice memos I have. So let's actually jump into the session and I'm going to show you how I produced it. Here's the Escape From Me session. It is 200 tracks, which is definitely my biggest amount of tracks in a session ever. There's just a lot of like little layers and stuff, and it all kind of just added up. We'll start off with the intro. The first thing you have is this bell pluck. That goes throughout almost the entire song. And I got this from Ignition Keys by Native Instruments, and it's a preset called Music Box. So I have that. I have this like little reverse into it, which is just like a hit of the bell pluck with like reverb on it, and I reversed it, and then I have one pitch down the octave. I have this little hi-hat here. And this little metal percussion thing. So that with the hi-hat just adds a little like groove on top of the bell thing. The next thing is this crowd noise that I have. Which you just got from some like royalty-free audio sample website. I also have another crowd noise that like pans. I did this like binaural panning thingy so that it like sweeps around and it feels like you're in the place. Basically the whole concept of the song is talking about like escaping from reality, specifically using music. So I want it to have like crowd, and then I say, now it's an escape for me. And then it goes into the music. So it like is a metaphor. I also have this reverse, which helps it suck out and then lead into the verse. I also have this little like saxophone sample that comes in later in the song, but I just have it really quietly. And I do the weird panning stuff to it. Just that melody feels like a little familiar. That's it for the intro, so now let's get into the verse. First thing is that bell pluck, I had it like filtered here. So I'm filtering off like the highs. And then here, I take the EQ off. So it's brighter. We add our kick drum from battery 4. And that's just the hi-hats and the percussion. So just those 4 elements make up the verse for the instrumental. Then the second half of the verse, I want it to get more interesting. So I add this bass, which is really quiet, but I have this reverse bass that goes into it. And then it gets like distorted. So that's really nice, and it really helped to make the second half more interesting. And then at this part, we add some other layers too. We have this high key thing, which is really quiet in the background, but it just helps with some reverb on it. And we have electric guitar that I recorded with that. Really nice. So that all felt really good in the instrumental. So we also have this tambourine kind of fade in. I automate the volume. It goes into the pre-chorus. And also leading into the pre-chorus, we have this like pizzicato violin thing from Session Strings 2. And then in the pre-chorus, we add some stuff. So we have this bass. This bass. We have these keys, which is like really quiet and it fades in, which I put a tremolo on. Just helps to build it up a little bit. At the end of the pre-chorus, leading into the chorus, we have this from Glaze. We have this little bass here that kind of like swells in with tremolo on it. And we have these cool violin trills. And we also add a snare. And the last thing I added was this like brass stab. So all that together sounds like this. Also forgot to mention I have this hi-hat thing. And then for the chorus, we just have this piano. And then we have other stuff coming too here. We have this hi-hat, which is like an acoustic hi-hat. We also have this pluck here. And another piano layer here. And this reflection arp, which I mentioned in introvert problems in that breakdown. We use it again here. So all these like really quiet layers go in the background and make it really like sparkly. Makes it really nice. We also add all of these too. So we have this pad. This like weird piano pad thing. We have another like piano-y thing. Really nice. I have like the particle engine on noir. Another pad. And then something really cool I did is I have all those layers reversed. And then we just have this, which is like a pad key thing. And then this last like little synth. So this is why there's so many tracks. There's just like a ton of just like little sounds that are buried in just to make like a crazy like texture. So all those together sound like this. And then we have the pre-chorus. So this is when we really start adding stuff. We have our kick again with those hi-hats and metal percussion, piano. And then we have both of our basses playing and they're like layered to sound really full. We also have some other stuff. We have this guitar thing that leads into it. which I love how it sounded. Then we have these. This like palm muty type thing. And that's basically it into the second verse. And it gets crazy. Really nice. So we have the snare come back in again. We have that brass stab again. Now we add some really cool stuff. So we have this like cool topper, which I think was just like a stock Logic topper, but that really complemented the drum groove. We also add what I call trance piano, which is like a pulsed piano using trance gate. And leading into the second verse, we have this cool reverse, which was I think like a reverse guitar stab, and then I put replica on it, which is delay. And then we have the second half where we add stuff. So this like little fill here that I made up of 2 samples. We have this like snare roll, and then like an actual fill sample. So those together make a really cool fill. Along with that, we also have some more layers. We have this like electric piano type thing. Some string like stabs. Kind of string. It's like a synthy string from Ignition Keys. And then we have like a really sick string melody from Session Strings, which gave it like almost cinematic feel, which I thought was really cool. So all that. We also add this extra hi-hat thing. And we have this is the first time this comes in, this pad, which I have sidechained to like a muted kick. So it has this pulse. And it just helps fill it out more. Then we have these guitars. Now here we add that saxophone melody again. So we have and I put it onto a bunch of different tracks and have it like pan, so it just sounds really like choppy and weird, but I thought it sounded cool like that. And then we have our pre-chorus again. We have this little guitar thing here. We have piano, which I automate the volume to come down, and then we just have the pad. And then we have this cool chord change again. So it's just the pad until we add this cool like reverse cymbal. And this other really cool percussion thing from one of Logic's like old like drum plugins. Those together have like a really cool effect. So for the second chorus, we have our bell pluck, kick, that pad, hi-hats, snare. Then we have multiple piano layers, so we have all 3 of these pianos here doing like the same thing, but it makes it feel really full. So it's like this dancey piano vibe. We have both of our basses from before. Then we bring back this guitar thing, and then the second half of the second chorus, we add this, which is like the 5th. We also have our tambourine again. We have this cool topper that I automate to get louder in the second half. Has like a really cool rhythm. We have this topper. And these are all got from the Logic like stock sounds. Also in the second half, we have these cool like plucks. So that's it. And then we have like a riser, another riser. And we also have this thing with the delay on it. But that's everything for the second chorus. That little delay thingy. And the pad. And I have this little high thing. Super quiet. But just add something in the background. Then the second half, we have a lot of stuff. So we have the kick come back in. We have like our palm muted guitars come back in too. We have that like guitar reverse thing again. We have this, like another reverse thing. And then we basically just have a bunch of like build up stuff. So we have all this. So how I did that, I have a bunch of different layers. I have this crystal pad, and I pan and have it like pulsed. I have this cotton pad, and this really cool distorted bass. And of course I have a reversed organ because that's my favorite thing to put in songs. So sick. And then I have this cello, which is just a studio strings cello. We have this, which is like an arpeggio pad thing. It's really cool. Really sick. We have this like French horn layer that just fades in. And then we have the reflection arp again. And then just a reverse cymbal. And that's how I made that build up. So all that together. And then just silence with the vocal there, which I'll show you the vocals later. And then we have the third chorus, which is basically the same as the second chorus, just a few extra layers. Also this fill that leads into it. I have this cool saxophone sample again. We have some extra percussion, so we have this bongo. That goes along with this like topper from before. So that makes it really cool. And then we just have the post-chorus. So we have this violin fade in. The shaker. Also like a cymbal swell. Another like saxophone chop. And then we have that saxophone with another one here. And then we have this really, really cool piano glissando thing with delay on it, so it just sounds really crazy. This open hat thingy, but then I have delay on it. And then another like crash here. And we have something I'm really proud of, which is this drum fill. We have a clap and this tom layer, which also has like some snare kick. I don't know, just some sort of drum layer thing with the clap too. Crazy, but that in context sounds like really, really good. We also add some other stuff too. So we have session horns, which is Native Instruments plugin. I have these. Which is just some like already programmed like layers that I put in. We have this chip tune thing, which is this. I don't know where I found that, but it has a really cool texture. And then we have the guitar solo. So I have two layers for that. One is my live like playing, and then I have like a MIDI guitar layered under it. So here's like the live guitar by itself. It's like distorted. And I have this like MIDI guitar that I have wider on, which makes it like wider. And I layer that under, and it sounds like this. It just helped to make it more full. And then outro. It goes back to the same thing as the intro, the bell puck, and the crowd noise. I just take out the hi-hat thing, so it's even like more simple. And then it just sucks in. And that's the entire instrumental. The only other thing I want to point out is that there's this chord change. So the entire song is just this. And basically, since the instrumental is like out in this part, it starts on this chord and it goes to this. So when I copied it over, I forgot that it wasn't like at the right place in the chord progression. So it went, and I thought, wait, that's actually kind of cool. So I changed the chord progression in like the post chorus to from this to just. So it goes, should have been a victory, now it's an escape from me. Now it's an escape, now it's an escape from me. I can't believe it became. Oh. And it just stays like that. And then in the outro, it goes back to this. That is everything instrumental wise. Now let's move on to the vocals. First thing that happens in the vocals is the ad lib in the intro. So vocal production in the verse is really simple. We just have the lead. Didn't know it would turn to that. Wasn't thinking it would be the end. I recorded like literally hundreds of takes to get this one lead vocal. And I spent like days just nitpicking like every single word to make it sound really clean. It was just a game. So up until this point, we just have lead vocal, no other like background vocals. But then here we have this little like harmony ad lib. And then the pre-chorus we had doubles. Oh, you're bursting for a new dress. Now I'm not that great, like their paper planes. And we also have this like cool call and response like stack. Oh, you're bursting for a new dress. So it goes, set in stone, yeah, that's all you know. Oh, you're bursting for a new dress. So all the vocals together sound like this. Set in stone, yeah, that's all you know. Oh, you're bursting for a new dress. You're bursting for a new dress. Not that great, like the paper plane. Still, you run until there's nothing left. And then just back to lead vocal here. In the second half, we have this little like delay throw. So it's like. In a victory. Now it's safe for me. And then here's just the lead and then this ad lib. Escape from me, escape from me, escape from me. We have this. We have like delay. So that's all the vocal production for like the first half of the song. And then starting the second verse, we add a lot more layers. So I'll solo everything out for you. Maybe watch what you talk about. Every line you spread's a new pursuit. Wanna tell them who we're all about. You'll be wishing that you told the truth. Wishing that you told the truth. In my dreams, yeah, they haunt the night. All the words you spoke, you never knew. So basically to do all that, we have our doubles come in on like certain phrases that I want to accent. So it's like, watch what you talk about. Hell. And then the rest of it, just lead. When I tell them who we're all about, you'll be wishing that you told the truth. We have harmonies, so we have what you talk about, yeah. Who we're all about, yo. And then the second half. In my dreams, yeah, they haunt the night. All the words you spoke, you never knew. We have this. When I tell them. Wishing that you told the truth, which comes in here. Oh, be wishing that you told the truth. Then we have this part, the truth. The dreams, yeah, they haunt. Which is just the lead vocal. Dreams, yeah, they haunt the night. Oh, the words you spoke, you never knew. I just pitch down the lead vocal and add distortion. We have doubles. In my dreams, yeah, they haunt the night. Oh, the words you spoke, you never knew. And when I sing haunt the night, I really want this like accent stack, so I have haunt the night. So that with the lead vocal sounds like this. In my dreams, yeah, they haunt the night. Oh, the words you spoke, you never knew. So that's all the layers until this part. Baby, in every song I write, no. So we have all these. Song I write, no. And then that cool little vocal chop. No. Just copy and paste it. And then we go back to the lead here. All you know. Oh, you're bursting for. We have that little ad lib there. Yes, all you know. Throughout the entire verse, we have ad libs. Hey, tell them who we're all about. You're all the truth. Oh. And then we also have this like ad lib layer here. Wanna tell them who we're all about. Yo. Back to the pre-chorus though. I'm not that great, like their paper planes. Still, you run until there's nothing left. So we have this like who stack. Who thing left. So that with the lead sounds like this.
Gray like their paper planes, still you run until there's nothing left. Once it was a mystery.
Then we have doubles here. And we have our chord stack. So I basically have the base of the chord.
Mystery turned into
And the third of the chord.
mystery.
And this like mystery.
Mystery
Just stays on that.
turned into a sight to see.
We also have this part.
Victory.
We just have victory. Just accenting that melody. That with the vocal, I'm really proud of.
Once it was a mystery, turned into a sight to see. Should have been a victory. Now it's an escape from me.
And I have all these bounced down, but I edited all that by hand to make it like tight, so I had like a million freaking cuts like throughout this to get it synced up with the vocal. We also have a low harmony here.
Victory.
And we still have like the pitch down lead. We have our ad-libs here.
It was a mystery, turned into a sight to see.
So that's doing like a calm response with the lead.
Once it was a mystery, it was a
Turned
mystery.
into a sight to see.
Turned into a should have been a victory.
We have this like high vocal here.
Oh, yeah.
And then we have like a vocal chop.
Now it's an escape from me.
And I have it like pitched down, the 4/4 gets lower and lower. And that leads into the bridge. And I played around with having some harmonies in this part, but I thought it was better to just have it like bare lead vocal. It feels like really intimate.
Stay while you fall.
So sweet.
Yes, it saved me.
And then we have this stack.
You die.
And those with the lead sounds like this.
You die. Once it was a mystery.
Just lead here and then
turned into a sight.
we have our big stack. So we have doubles.
Turned into a sight to see. Turned into a sight to see.
We have these.
Turned into a sight to see.
And then to make it way bigger, we have a bunch of like belting vocals. So I have this.
Turned into a sight.
And then like a low octave of that.
Turned into a sight.
And a harmony.
Into a sight.
And then these extra layers, which is just singing it weirdly to add like a crowd effect. Also have this sight stack, which is
Sight.
and I sidechain that to the kick, so it goes like sight. Not that extreme, but it adds like a pulse to it.
Sight.
So all that together.
Turned into a sight to see. Should have been a
Then just the chord stack,
victory.
doubles.
Should have been. Now it's an escape.
So we have our ad-lib over here.
It should have been. It should have been. No.
And then we have this whole stack.
Now
Now basically makes it sound like a crowd is singing it.
it's in.
Also have this.
Now it's an escape. Oh.
Then I have the secret layer, which actually nobody knows about, which is actually my younger brother singing. Now it's in a. But I foreman shifted it a bit so it blend more with my vocals. And I recorded it, but it sounded very like squeaky because it's like really high in my falsetto and it just didn't work. So I asked him to sing it, and yeah.
Now it's an escape from me.
I have these ad-libs here.
Oh.
Then we have this,
Set in stone, that's what I'm made of.
which I'm not really going to tell you what that's for because it's basically teasing another song that's going to come out in a long time. But we have that layered under it.
Turned into my reality. Stone, that's what I'm made of.
We have another like belt here.
Set in stone.
Ad-libs.
Now it's in the. Yeah, now it's in the. No.
We have that vocal chop.
Now it's in the.
So for the post-chorus, we just have our lead
Now it's in the.
and doubles.
Escape. Now it's an escape from me. Now it's an escape.
With the slow harmony too.
Escape.
And also this harmony.
Escape.
So even lower. So all those together.
Escape, escape. Now it's an escape from me.
Then we just have the lead and some ad-libs.
I can't believe now it's an escape.
And that's all the vocals until the end.
Now it's an escape.
And that's all the vocal production. For my other session breakdowns, I usually go a little bit into the mixing, but since there's like an insane amount of tracks, I think I'm just going to skip that for this video. If you have any questions about how I did the mixing, just leave them in the comments. I'm happy to answer those. Now I'm going to show you how I mastered it, and then we're done. So here's the mastering session for my entire EP. I mastered all the songs in the EP in one session just so I can make it sound consistent. Here's the mastering chain. For some reason, there's a reverb on it that's at like 0% on the mix knob, so it's not like active, but for some reason I had it on there. I guess I was like testing it out with reverb or something. But here's like the actual mastering stuff I did. I have this EQ here just taking out some like harsh frequencies in Imager, so basically making like the bass more mono, and like the mids more stereo, then like the high mids and highs like a little bit mono actually, and then all the like highs are just left alone. I have our dynamic EQ, ducking these when they get too harsh. We have some more EQ, and then we have Exciter, which is applying some like saturation and distortion to certain like bands. I only really apply it to like the mids and higher mids, like barely any, and then like the highs. It just helps make it more like colorful and interesting. Then I just have a compressor doing like parallel compression to bring up some of like the quieter parts. I have a clipper, we have channel EQ, just boosting some highs. And then we have the maximizer, which is the limiter, and that's it. Thanks so much for watching. I really hope you liked the video. If you want to listen to Escape from me, it's out everywhere. Also, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the next breakdown video.